Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Today's video is going to be a book review and it's a review of this. This is The Pumpkin Eater by Penelope Mortimer. This was first published in 1962, so I'm going to give you my opinions on this book, and then it was turned into a film and I've watched the film and I'm going to review the film as well. So first up with the book, this is about a woman who she's had failed marriages and children from those various failed marriages. She then is currently married to a man called Jake, who when they got together they didn't have a lot of money, but he's now become very successful and he writes movie film scripts, and she has all her children around her and they're all very loud and there's a lot of noise, and one bit in it Jake says, "I feel like I live in a nursery," and she can't stop crying. And that's the main thing about the book, is that she's really depressed and no one can work out why she's depressed, and her husband gets her a therapist, and so throughout it they're conversations with her therapist, but they're also her kind of musing about her life and about her life before children and her various marriages, and she can't work out why she's in this like deep depression. I think this book is very much open to interpretation. It is kind of autobiographical to Penelope Mortimer, people say as well, but I don't know if it is or not because it doesn't say that on the back or anything. But I think this is a lot of women's stories, and how I interpreted it is that sometimes when women get married and they have children young and they haven't developed themselves, they become deeply depressed because they don't know who they are. And the main character in this book, she doesn't have any friends, she doesn't have any hobbies or interests at all. She just has her husbands and her children. That is her whole world. She doesn't have any like outside expressions into her life whatsoever, and so I think this is a lot of women's story, and that's what made it so devastating for me, because I could connect it to women within my own life that I know and be like, oh yeah, when you talk to her there is kind of like a stunted sadness within her, because your children will inevitably leave you and they will fly the nest and you will be stuck with yourself. But if you don't know who yourself is, or you don't have any hobbies or interests, what are you going to do? And in this, her children are still young, so this isn't about a woman whose children have gone off, but you know that it's inevitable that her children are going to go off. And even though they're, you know, young and she's looking after them all the time, there is a sadness within her because she has no identity whatsoever. She is like a ghost, because she hasn't worked on herself in any kind of way. She just thought, I'll get married, I'll have children, I'll live this fairy tale and I'll be happy. And we know that's just not true. You have to have your own personality and identity, and you can be a wife and you can be a mother, but they are roles in which you play, but you have to be an individual first within yourself. And so that's how I interpreted it. But this is very much open to interpretation, and we have a very unreliable narrator throughout the book. So depending on how you connect to her, that's going to change your experience. Depending on whether you have children or not, I definitely think that would change your experience. Or if you're married or not, that would change your experience. I'm someone who's not married and I have no interest in having children in my future. So I had a one side look at it, but if you're married with children, I think you'd interpret it very differently, and there's no answer as to why she is depressed. It's up to your interpretation, and I love books like that. I don't feel there's enough books out there where the author just trusts the reader to do whatever they want with the work. I loved it. I thought it was so good, and after I'd finished reading it I didn't know if I loved it or not, because it took me a long time to read. It's a short read, but it took me a long time. You have to be really patient with our narrator. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like after I put it down, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and how tragic that this is so many women's lives, that women are told, get married and have children, and children are the greatest thing that can ever happen to you. And you go into shops and the signs are like, love, laugh, family. Family is where my heart is, and children make the world go round, little footprints on my heart, all this different stuff, and talking to women about like, children will make you happy. I don't think children will make you happy if you're not your own self and your own individual. I don't think you can just live through your children. I don't think that brings you happiness. But that's my firm beliefs, but someone else might have different firm beliefs, and that's why I like it's very open to interpretation. I really did enjoy this. I thought this was really good. I liked the conversations with her therapist. There was an awkwardness to it because everyone knows she's depressed and she knows she can't stop crying, but she won't admit to it. So she won't admit there's a problem. So there's a real awkwardness throughout it. She has this obsession with wanting another child, and she already has loads of children, and it's almost, you feel this desperation of, if I just have one more child, maybe the fairy tale of me living happily ever after will all come together. Just one more chance, just one more child, and that's that's obviously not going to happen. It also touches upon infidelity. It touches upon predatory behaviour with men and young girls, because when she is a young girl, you get the idea that she's about 14 years old. One of her dad friends kind of comes onto her dad's friend, and then there's a scene when her daughter is about 14 years old and one of Jake's friends comes onto her. So it's kind of that predatory that we don't really talk about, that some men who you may have known your whole life, as soon as you hit puberty, they see you in a completely different light. So before that you were a little girl and now you are some kind of sexual object, and how disgusting that is. And I think every woman can relate, because I can. I think we can all relate that we have seen certain men within our lives, maybe family, friends, and as soon as you hit puberty, they look at you in a different way, they talk to you in a different way. It's all very confusing because you are still a child yourself. I thought this was great. Like, I really did. I thought it explored so many things. It was so great. I really enjoyed it. So now I'm going to go on to the film. I have a few notes of the film. The film came out in 1984, and I knew it had been turned into a film, and it was an award-winning film. And I thought, I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it or not. And then I heard two words which sold me on it, and that was Anne Bancroft. Anne Bancroft played the main character, and anything that woman has been in is great. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. It's in black and white, the film, and the film, its audio is really weird. So it'll be really kind of silent, or just like slight background music, and then it'll be really loud. And I think it's to represent the chaos within her mind, that she can't be with herself. When she's by herself, she doesn't know who she is, so she's very uncomfortable and awkward, and she doesn't know what to do. But then her life, she's got so many children that it's such a loud life to go through. The film really didn't capture the book, but it captured some of the book. I personally liked the film. I think read the book first and then see the film. There were certain scenes that weren't in the book and certain scenes that were added, and obviously they're two completely different mediums. I feel if you read the book, it's very much an exploration about infidelity and marriage, but also about women and women trying to seek happiness in things that aren't going to make them happy. Whereas the film is just about a troubled marriage. That's it. It just focuses on her marriage with Jake and nothing to do with her as a character. There was only one scene in the film that I think worked in the film, but it wasn't in the book, which is that in the book a woman writes a letter to our main character and says, I've seen a picture of you and your family in the paper, because Jake's a famous screenwriter. You look so perfect and so happy. I just wish my life was like yours, and my life's unhappy and all this different stuff. What should I do? Your life looks perfect. And that in the book is really to represent that our main character looks like she's got everything going for her, and people looking in, other women would be jealous of her and think, oh God, like, oh, she's got everything, I've got nothing. But we really know that it's all lies, that our main character is in this deep depression and she's very desperately unhappy, and she's putting on a facade, and it is all lies. So it's kind of like, don't look at someone's life and idolise it and think it's perfect, because it's probably not. Whereas in the film, they obviously didn't want to show her reading out a long letter. So what they did is she went to the hair salon, and a woman next to her at the hair salon goes, oh my God, I just saw your picture in the newspaper. And that scene gets really weird, and it's nothing like what it is in the book. It changes its meaning completely. This woman's just kind of mad, and it all just goes a bit mad. But I think it did work in the film. It was just very different meaning from the book. And I feel like quite a lot of scenes in the film had different meanings than what they had in the book, but I still thought both were good. One, your film, that's about a broken down marriage that's just kind of skitting along. The book is more in depth. It's about like women and society. But I did enjoy both. I thought they were both good. So that's all I have to say about it. I would definitely recommend read the book and then go and see the film, because the film's a great film. I mean, Anne Bancroft, what more do you need to know? But do both, because I do think I would recommend this. This is really good. And also, if you're reading it and you're thinking, oh my God, this is really slow, it does all kind of, it doesn't come together, but it's really weird, because when I was reading it, I was thinking, oh my God, this is so slow, it's slogging along. And then I got to a certain point and I was like, oh my God, this is genius. Like, I'm loving it, and I really connected to it and thought it was great. But it doesn't have any kind of pacing within the book, and that's what's unusual about it. But I would say push through the book and then go watch the film, and then message me and tell me if you like it or not, because I really want to discuss this book with people. So definitely go read this book. And that is it. A very aggressive end there. I am wearing a jumper, as you can see, because it is August in the UK, which means the UK summer has ended. We had 1 month of July, and now it's pouring with rain. So welcome to winter. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon for another one.